That's allowed. That's his playable deck. So yeah, there's gonna be very interesting to see how he plays around that.
Well, let's see if the combo can be constructed and executed here. We're jumping into Gengur versus Noah, and I'm eager to see what decks they kind of start off with. Looks like it's going to be, ooh, scary in the scary map, and it's going to be Shadow versus Rune. So he is kicking it off with Dimensional Shift, and Noah looks like he's gone for something that's a little more consistent but changed. He's got Mint in there, so that's kind of an addition that's been, I think, being thrown around a little bit more. But talk to me a little bit about these opening hands in this matchup in particular, guys.
Okay, so as you can see from Noah's side, he's got a pretty decent curve, at least from 1 and 2. He has a Necro Assassin to help clear the board, but it's not going to be super useful against Dimension Shift because, well, Dimension Shift is not a deck that relies heavily on playing followers in the earlier part of the game.
Right, exactly. Necro Assassin's not really going to get too much value almost ever. Also, kind of playing out Soul Squasher is kind of weird here. Shadow used to have a pretty okay matchup against Dimension Shift back when they could play, like, Bone Chimera Catacombs, so, like, removal didn't get rid of all of your dudes. But Dimension Shift's going to be playing a lot of spells, so it's interesting that he's flooding out into those spells.
Yeah, but, I mean, I guess there's a mindset of, well, I want to try to hit him hard and as quickly as possible.
What a good top deck. Oh my gosh.
That was a good top deck.
He had no plays, drawing 2 7-drops.
But yeah, it could get to a point where, you know, he needs to do damage. And
yeah, for
if
sure.
he's not actually doing damage, then, you know, so it's kind of like the risk you have to take when you're playing against D-Shift. Is that, okay, I need to start doing something.
That's kind of how the old mid-range sword matchup works. Like, basically, you can't win as sword without summoning things, and you just have to kind of overflow the board, which is what I was talking about with, like, Bone Chimera and Catacombs. And I think that Shadow probably still has an okay matchup against this, as long as, like, as we can see, Dimension Shifts aren't even in Gengur's hand yet. So he's going to have a problem actually ending the game while Shadow's getting up to 7 and flooding out with, like, Thane and Eekter. It's going to probably work out better for Noah.
Yeah, well, we can see from Noah. Noah has, you know, he has the, you know, his 2 Thanes in hand, and that's going to actually be very crucial against Gengur, especially with Gengur's hand is the way it is right now.
Yeah, his hand is shaping up to garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have his combo, and right about now is when you want to have that D-Shift in your hand, is at the turn 4 to turn 5, so you can start spell boosting it, and this, that, and other, but it just seems like right now he's just drawing dead, and we actually did see Gengur go through this before in a match, and he actually managed to win that game, so maybe he'll have some luck this time with that.
It is still possible. Dimension Shift is once it's actually online, is extremely explosive. But if you dirtle too long, if you take too long to get it online, then you just lose. Yeah, that's an interesting card. Dead Moon's Disciple.
Well, for the audience who doesn't know, what Dead Moon Disciple it has fanfare. It gives a follower that you have in play the ability to just ignore ward. So it doesn't matter if they have ward. They can have 6 wards in play. It doesn't matter. Your follower will just ignore it. And what I'm thinking is, you know, since there's very likely have Deathly Tyrant in this list, that's why he has the Dead Moon Disciple. Pair it with that.
Ooh.
He finally shift though.
He found D-Shift, and he's also holding double Sorcery Cache, but he didn't go for double Sorcery Cache. He inset it into a Merlin. I don't think Merlin's the play. I guess it is. It'll spell boost the Dimension Shift, but he could have double Sword Cached there.
It won't be long now.
But you're also, by double Sword Caching, he's opening himself up to take, you know, even more damage, and I think that's something that he still has to be mindful of, especially right now because it's taking him this long to actually get a D-Shift in hand. So,
I mean, he incited into that Merlin. He didn't know he was going to have an answer. Like, before the Merlin, he had nothing in his hand against the board, so that was interesting. But Thane comes down for Noah. He finds another Merlin. Spell boost on Wind Blast was last turn, so that's actually at 2.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to want to play the Merlin here.
Here goes a Sword Cache. Insight finds a Conjure Golem.
So if, let's say that
Ooh.
let's say you're Gengur right now, you're in this position, what would you do?
You have to summon Flame Destroyer here. I actually really like summoning Flame Destroyer here, because there's too much damage on board, and Ictor is an instant, you lose immediately to Ictor or Cerberus if you leave these on the board. You actually just lose to the board, literally, so.
Well, as we can definitely see that Noah has Ektar in hand, and he's about to take even more damage off of that white, and oh man.
Well, it's actually just lethal.
Yeah, this is his game. He plays Ektar Evos.
He plays Ector or Cerberus.
Yeah.
Either one. But that's what I'm talking about. Like D-Shift, it's very open these days. Like it does have access to wards, but even if it did, like Dead Moon Disciple being in there would just go around stuff like the Conjure Golem Assault. I forget the whole name of it.
Yeah.
It makes a 3/3 Conjure Golem. Yeah. He could just get around that with a random Dead Disciple. Yeah, Golem Assault, that's it. Yeah, that's just D-Shift though. Like D-Shift just loses out to aggressive strategies. So.
And Noah played that game pretty well, actually. He did exactly what he needed to do. He started off aggressive. He did not let up that aggression. And it's just unfortunate that Gengur just kind of didn't really have a good hand or anything like that. He didn't really have anything good for a very long time. So Noah's switching to Forest, and Gengur's deciding to stick with D-Shift.
Time for me to prove myself.
He has stuck with D-Shift. I mean, I would honestly say Noah's got another good matchup here. I think Roach is a little bit faster than D-Shift.
Yeah, it's at least...
Depending on what D-Shift draws.
Well, on most turns, or most games, Roach tends to be like at least one turn faster, because they're going to be taking damage throughout the game.
Exactly.
That's just kind of how the deck sets up. So D-Shift is not a deck that, in the exception of Bottles, who was playing, Abomination and all that, it's not a deck that generally is going to be doing a lot of damage in the early game. So yeah, it's generally at least one turn faster. But his hand's not shaping up like that.
Absolutely atrocious hands. It's just
I was like, his hand's not shaping up like that. It's pretty bad.
That's a pretty good draw. Can play that next turn.
He didn't have this turn, and
Sword Cash onto a Fate's Hand, finding a D-Shift. That's so good.
Yeah, that was great. So now he'll be able to start spell boosting the other cards in his hand. He got another Fate's Hand. He's got a Conjure Guardian, I believe, and he's got a D-Shift that he can start. He can cast to start. He can't cast a D-Shift, but he can cast the other cards to spell boost the D-Shift. So
yeah, he can start working on casting D-Shift.
Right. But yeah,
which is super important. So the whole point of Dimension Shift is to actually have that card in your hand and start spell boosting it early.
Yep. And we saw, as we see right now, Noah's hand is kind of whatever. This is actually the type of hand that Gengur wants to fight against. He didn't see any fairy circles in the beginning of the game. No Wood of Brambles. No nothing. It just
He even finds a Fiery Embrace for later on.
That's really good. His hand's starting to shape up a lot. Fingers.
He does have Abomination in here.
It's pretty sweet.
Goes for a pre-boost. I imagine usually 0 play point Fate's Hands. You save those for the following turn in case you draw into a spell boost card on your draw. And I think he was looking for a Conjure Golem, if I had to guess. I don't think he wanted to play this Conjure Guardian and wanted to instead play Conjure Golem. If I had to guess.
Certainly possible. But I think this is going to be a turn where Noah's going to start, actually pressing some damage.
Yes.
He's going to at least do 2 damage this turn. And, it's actually really good. Now he can actually, start applying some pressure to Gengur. But, again, he kind of started a little late.
Yeah, Gengur's not holding any Wind Blasts. He does have Kaleidoscopic Glow into Abomination, which can set up Fate's Hand next turn to trigger Abomination. He's going to go for just Levi, which is much safer. Gets the damage off the board already, so.
Honestly, I'd be pretty surprised to see if this Abomination actually, you know, gets played.
I don't think it is that
point.
surprising.
I mean,
He has Fate's hand in
just...
hand, so I actually could see it.
Well, I guess.
It won't be long now.
But from my perspective, I would be like, okay, I don't want to be wasting play points on not spell boosting. So
Yeah, I feel you. Ooh, Insight is huge.
that was a really good draw. So
A third Levi's kind of awkward.
Yeah, but for those who don't know what Insight does, it just simply draws a card, and it's a one play point spell. So it's one of, if not the single most important card in D-Shift, aside from D-Shift.
And there's the Abomination.
Oh, there it
Running
is.
away is okay.
Because he'll draw into 8 next turn, he can cast Fate's Hand, trigger to 9, and immediately trigger Abomination.
Yeah, but Noah can just simply Will of the Forest this, but that
He
is
could,
a wasted turn.
but that skips
not
his turn,
doing
so...
Yeah. And Noah's hand is, again, it's still not that great. I mean, he does have access to an EPM, so he can get some 0 drops in his hand, but the thing is, he's going to end up overdrawing, and yeah. So he's opting to skip his turn, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd exactly call it not that great. He's got Goblin Mage, which fetches only Roach, into Roach, and 2 bounces in hand as well, so if his play points just start getting up there, his hand can shape up, especially if he evolves EPM or Fina next turn. He's got setups.
Well,
But
the thing is,
Gengar's
I don't
getting
think he's
there,
going to
too.
get there. Yeah, that's what
Gengar's
I mean.
getting
I don't
there,
think he's
too.
going to get there. Like, Gengar's, his hand right now has really fleshed out throughout the course of this game. And Noah's hand is just kind of, well, I can't kill him yet. You know? So that's kind of the issue that is arising here. And again, like I mentioned before, like Noah was not able to get an aggressive game plan started early.
Yeah, Gengar is able to... I don't think he's able to go off next turn. He does have... Yeah, no, he can't go off next turn, but the following turn for sure. So Noah only has one more turn to set up here.
So the question for Noah would then be, should you go for just pushing some type of Roach damage now? And, you know, like, say, play... Or not at all.
Unbelievable.
Or not do that, but my line was thinking something more along the lines of... say he played Fairy into Roach into Ancient Elf to get back the Roach, he would have done at least 2 damage off of that. I mean, he played the Dance of Death, and I think it was fine too. It still dealt damage. But
yeah, Gengar's trying to find out if he has lethal anyway. I don't think he does.
Well, let's see. I believe I can't tell what his Flame Destroyer is at. I think it's maybe at like 3 or 2 or something.
He has a Dimension Shift at 8, a Fire Embrace at 0, and a Flame Destroyer at 2.
Okay, so, well, I don't think
I am 99.9% sure he cannot kill this turn. If he does, I will be, I'll be pretty amazed.
Ow!
I imagine he attacks with this in Kaleidoscope, it glows it back to his own hand, drawing a card, finds a Witch Bolt, which whiffs,
That's
unfortunately.
not what he wanted. It's not what he wanted.
He may go for a Levi Evolve Fireball just to spell boost again this turn. Or he may save the Evolve because he has Levi. I don't know. If you expect,
I find it kind of difficult to... Sorry.
It's weird. It's really weird. I don't know. Like, do you expect to die to Roach combo? On the back draw, finds a Nature's Guidance. That's really, really bad.
Wow.
Oh,
oh, man. This is where you insert all the sadness that you can muster.
No.
Like, not that it mattered. He had lethal, but, like, still. Yeah, he has the Evo point, and Noah is actually gonna take this game. He has exact lethal.
God, like,
oh
yeah, I actually couldn't
goodness.
see the other. He actually still already had Nature's Guidance.
Yeah, I couldn't see it either.
Gengar, I don't know if Gengar expected to die on the back draw like that or not, but man.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that either.
0 cost drops for Forestcraft are insane. They increase your damage output by so much, and that's Roach. That's what happens when you play Roach.